Welcome everybody to the Talk About Podcast. Hope you guys are having a good day. You guys can follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, and subscribe here on YouTube. As you guys can see, we are not at our normal setup today, and we aren't even because Riley is not here. Riley is all the way in Maine right now for a vacation. So I didn't want us to go a whole week without saying our reactions to UFC 292. So Riley and I both submitted videos, and we're going to put that in, and that's going to be our podcast for this week. But yeah, we're just going to talk about the UFC 292 card. So let's start off with the main event. SUGA Sean O'Malley, ladies and gentlemen, knocked out the champion of the world, Aljamain Sterling, in the second round in dramatic fashion. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. I felt like the first round was a pretty close round. Both guys were just kind of feeling each other out, respecting each other's games. I felt like Sterling actually lost the first round. I know all three judges had O'Malley losing that round, but I felt like O'Malley controlled the pace more. But when you go with damage, there was a lot of leg kicks that were landed. Sean said they didn't hurt him, but then he said in the post-fight, how about round two? How'd they score that one? And it doesn't really matter because there was a KO victory and new 135-pound bantamweight champion of the world, SUGA Sean O'Malley. Absolutely unbelievable. I was so excited. I jumped up and down like crazy. I was watching it with my girlfriend's dad because, like I said, Riley and I weren't together. So this is, I think, the second card this year we've had to watch separately. We watched UFC 283. I think that's what it was in Brazil with Jamal Hill and Glover. We didn't get to watch that one together and this one. So it sucked because Suga's in our top five, both of us. But it is what it is, man. It's crazy. He won the belt, and I can't believe it. I still can't really believe that he's the champion. But he is. And this week you'll feel more real watching all of his content and seeing him with the bell, and it's just crazy. But what to do next? I think Sterling deserves a rematch. I mean, if we're being honest, right? I mean, I know people want Cheeto, and I want Cheeto. There's a great story there, and but if Sterling wants a rematch, it throws a wrench into everything because Sterling has totally earned himself a rematch. The guy has been champion for some time now and has defended his title 4 times, 3 successfully, and he's the greatest bantamweight champion, debatably, of all time. And I know he said that he's going to go up, win, lose, or draw, but the guy can change his mind. I mean, obviously, he didn't think he was going to get knocked out in the second round. So I think that the rematch is what's fair. Now, if they don't do the rematch for whatever reason, Sterling goes up or whatever, I mean, I think Sterling totally deserves a rematch. But if it doesn't happen because Sterling decides to go up, the next guy's Merab. Merab is next, has to be Merab. How are you going to put Cheeto over Merab? Even the story doesn't even, it just doesn't make sense. The story's great. It will sell the most pay-per-views probably. O'Malley and Vera. And maybe that's what it's all about. But if you want to go by what's most fair, Merab totally deserves an opportunity. If you don't go the Merab route, you got Corey Sandhagen, who would be next. So in my opinion, option 4 is Cheeto Vera. It goes Sterling, Merab, Sandhagen, and then Cheeto Vera. And what's his name? Sandhagen's going to be injured anyway for some time. So we'll have to see how it all plays out. But that's my personal opinion on that. Absolutely unbelievable. Let's move on to the co-main event. Zhang Weili absolutely dominant over Amanda Lemos. I actually am not too surprised, but Lemos showed some heart, man. For her to be the number 5 ranked girl, step in there. She's been doing well. She almost caught Weili in a couple dart stroke, but just shows how high level Weili is. And we'll see what happens next there. I think I think you go with Dion now. Do the China against China matchup. I think it makes the most sense. She's coming up through as well. Absolutely dominant performance, very dominant. Won every round in my book, and in most people's books. So yeah, did very, very well there. In the third match, third fight, this was the most. I've never have felt more bad other than Korean Zombie when he went against Volk. Neil Magny got absolutely destroyed. And I have never seen in my life, I don't think this has ever even happened, to see Neil Magny get leg kicked twice with the first 2 strikes that Ian Gary threw, and he dropped to the ground. The first 2 strikes, the same strikes to the leg. Oh my goodness, I couldn't even believe it. And the 30-24, the guy, I mean, I don't even know when the last time that's happened. So it was absolutely horrible. I felt so bad for Neil Magny, but I knew it was going to happen. Ian Gary's coming up through. People don't realize how good this guy is. I think people are realizing now. But yeah, it was absolutely unbelievable, and Ian Gary absolutely destroyed it. And we'll see what happens next. I know he wants Wonder Boy. I want to see him against the grappler, though. I want to see how his jiu-jitsu and his wrestling and his takedown defense matches up against wrestlers. Because once you get to the top 5 of the welterweight division, you got guys like Gilbert Burns, which I know is his training partner. But you got Usman, you got Hamzat, Bele, Colby, Leon. All these guys are good at grappling. Wonder Boy would be a fun fight, but it doesn't make sense. But Wonder Boy wants to be a champion, but he's like ducking a lot of guys, and it's kind of difficult. I don't know. I don't know if it's too sure that he actually ducked Ian Gary. I know why he wouldn't want to fight Ian Gary. I wouldn't want to fight him either, but we'll see what happens there. Mario Batista looked good in his performance. The other guy looked fantastic too. I forget his name off the top of my head, but for him to come off 7 days, 8 days notice, and to take that fight, I feel like both their stocks just rise. Nobody, lost. It wasn't like a complete blowout of a fight, so that was a great fight. And Chito Vera against Munoz, I love that fight. I felt like that was the most technical fight on the card. It was so good. Both guys are so good. Chito looked great. And yeah, Cheeto's the type of dance partner for Sean. I know he's beat him before, and I know that, with the leg and the kick and everything, but O'Malley and Chito is stylistically, it's just a great fight. But it just doesn't make sense right now, in my opinion. I think Chito goes out, beats one more guy. That's what makes sense. But this does not make sense. And I think Chito still has to beat one more guy. Him beating the number 10 guy, as good as Pedro is, he just came off a loss against Sandhagen. There's too many guys. If there wasn't too many guys, like if it was like, oh, who could it be? Then I get it. But when you have Merab, who is definitively the number 1 contender, even more than O'Malley was, and this is me being all unbiased. I want O'Malley to be the champion forever. So if it was if I'm looking at it on styles, I would rather him fight Vera compared to Merab or Sandhagen. I think it's the easiest fight, but if we're going off what's fair, it's just not fair. So that's my thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. We have an absolutely amazing week planned this week. Talk About Jiu-Jitsu, the Talk About Tournament 1 event finally happening. If you're in the area, go to talkaboutpodcast.com, buy your tickets now for our absolutely stacked card. You guys have been hearing about it for months now. It's finally happening. So it's a huge week for Talk About, doing some big things. And go tune into our Marcus McGee podcast as well if you guys haven't watched it. We got him on the program. Won't be the last time. I can promise you that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy Riley's piece. Hope you have a good day. And peace.
What's up, guys? It's a Talk About podcast. This is not the Talk About podcast, really, because I'm out in Maine. My family's downstairs. I'm about to go to sleep. But this is my review of UFC 292 in Boston. What a card. What a card. Loved it. Loved the card. Every single fight was great. What was it called? The Chandler versus McGregor. That fight was good. It was really good. It was one of the fights of the years. Loved it. Let's just jump to Ian Gary versus Neil Magny. Neil Magny was dragging his butt across the floor like a dog. He got walked like a dog that night. So, Machado Gary, 30-24. He's definitely going to be top 5 here soon. Probably in the next year, he's going to be top 5. No doubt about it. At 170, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson declined. I guess he wants to fight up. So, that kind of makes sense. But, that was a good fight. I know Black Shear versus Mario Batista. That was a good fight. It was a good grappling fight. Batista was winning the first round, I think. And then the second round and the third round, he was gassing out. Well, it makes sense because he had to make weight 2 times in 7 days. 7 days. So, Mario Batista, 15-2, I think. He's going up in the rankings, and the MMA lab is making some good fighters, I'm telling you that. Marcus McGee, and then we got SUGA, and then we got Mario Batista. Like, we got some beasts there in Arizona. And then the co-main event, there's not really much to say. Zhang Weili just dominated all 5 rounds. Manhandled Lemos. Lemos is really good. Like, don't get me wrong. She is really, really, really good. But she just got outclassed. She got outclassed. Zhang Weili is a different animal. Like, I'm telling you, she's the #1 women's fighter right now. Pound for pound. Yeah, 288 strikes to 21, I think. I can't really check on my phone. But the main event, the SUGA show. Oh, I told you guys. I told you guys. Never bet against SUGA Sean O'Malley. Even if he got the colored hair, he gets it done in the second round. The first round, I was like, what do you score off of? Obviously, everybody thought of that. I thought he was going to get a first round KO. But didn't happen. Got it happen in the second round. But great fight. I think SUGA was keeping his distance so he didn't get taken down. Sterling didn't have a chance to take down SUGA. So it wasn't a possibility of SUGA getting taken down, you know. I really want to know what the first fight of the... Oh! Cheeto Vera versus... God, I forget his name because he's irrelevant. What's his name? He fought SUGA. God, I forgot his name, but it doesn't matter. He lost. Cheeto, it was pretty decisive. It was a close fight, but I think we all knew that it was a pretty easy fight to score. Cheeto lost the first round for sure. He's a slow fighter. He's always been a slow fighter. That's what his ick is, like his negative for fighting. But Cheeto just turned it up in the second and third round. He looked like a totally different fighter in the second and third round instead of the first. But yeah, it was a great performance by Cheeto. He has a big jump. He could be next for the title in December in Las Vegas. And hopefully the main event of December is Chandler McGregor. But we don't know because McGregor is nowhere. Actually, he is somewhere. He's everywhere. He's in Abu Dhabi, Las Vegas. He's everywhere with his Lamborghini yacht. So this has been the Talk About podcast. Jack is probably somewhere. He's at home doing something of the event. But yeah, the event is this weekend, Saturday. Can't wait. This is going to be a great event. I can't wait to watch. And hopefully you guys are too. We're killing it and Talk About. This is our year. Let's go. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace.